Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're stepping into a case that honestly feels like it's ripped straight out of some gothic horror novel. But as we dig deeper, it's really about wealth, obsession, and this dark, almost cult-like mentality.
It really is. You start with this incredibly theatrical crime scene, the whole vampire bite setup, very ritualistic.
Yeah.
But the investigation, led by Lieutenant Eve Dallas, it quickly peels back that layer to show something much colder, calculated.
Okay, let's start right there with the victim, Tiara Kent. She's 23, beautiful, incredibly rich, and, well, her biggest fear, getting old, losing her looks.
Yeah, and that's crucial. She didn't see immortality as like a spiritual thing. For Tiara, it was just another luxury item, like her penthouse, her jewels. Eternal life was something she thought she could just buy.
She was totally committed, too, wasn't she? This wasn't just some fantasy. She actually set a date for it.
April 18th, 2060. That was going to be her new birthday, the day she'd be, reborn.
And the price. Her soul. Which apparently she was fine with paying. That tells you, well, everything about her priorities, really.
And the crime scene just screams delusion, but also complicity. It wasn't just a murder. It was a performance. You have this huge bed, like lake-sized, right?
Yeah.
And the roof's just been redecorated in her favorite colors, blue and green.
Yeah.
But now it's stained crimson. She's laid out perfectly, almost posed.
In that red dress, right, the form-fitting one.
Exactly. Form-fitting, almost see-through, red with sapphires, emeralds. She's the absolute centerpiece of this horrifying scene.
And the ritual elements. They're just chilling because they show how much she was playing along.
Totally. She turned off the security on her private entrance, the elevator, made sure they wouldn't be interrupted.
And the candles.
13 white candles, placed very specifically around the room, and then the so-called potion in this crystal wine glass.
Which she drank, every drop.
Every drop. Then positioned herself on the bed, just waiting for what the killer called the final, ultimate kiss.
It sounds like he knew her routine inside out.
Absolutely. Dallas and her team noted right away there was no sign of a struggle. None. And the fact, Tiara shut down her own security.
Points to someone she knew, trusted even.
Or someone who had completely, utterly mesmerized her. Dallas's take was stark. She hadn't fought him. She just lay there.
Yeah.
Willingly, perhaps, but definitely chemically enforced.
And how she died. Exsanguination. Completely bled out.
Just 2 tiny puncture wounds.
Yeah.
Left side of the carotid artery. Very precise.
Yeah.
Almost surgical. Like I said, cold and calculated beneath all the gothic dressing.
So that's our mission for this deep dive, right? To figure out who convinced this incredibly narcissistic young woman that dying was actually the real beginning.
Exactly. What was that lethal mix of delusion, chemistry, and manipulation that led her to basically cooperate in her own murder?
Okay, so the investigation kicks off, and right away you have the split, don't you, between the sensational and the practical.
You do. Detective Peabody, Dallas's partner, she sees the wounds and immediately thinks, vampire bite. Classic gothic horror conclusion.
Which is probably what the killer wanted them to think.
Precisely. But Dallas, she's having none of it. Professional skepticism kicks in immediately. She's like, okay, if there were fangs, they were filed down, or maybe caps, some kind of appliance.
So a tool, artifice, not magic.
Right. It points to premeditation, deception. She tells Peabody they need to find someone with a heartbeat, someone they can arrest, not, drive a stake through.
To get why Tiara fell for this, we need to understand her world, the sheer excess.
Oh, absolutely. Her apartment was basically a shrine to herself. The sources say her dressing room. Bigger than most people's apartments.
Wow.
And mirrors everywhere, not just functional ones, but reflective surfaces all over. Her closet was like a mini department store, this constant focus on her image, her reflection. That's the vulnerability.
And it wasn't just her own vanity, was it? Her mother gave some context.
Right, Iris Francine. She explained Tiara was absolutely furious about her father. He was obsessed with youth himself and had just married a woman younger than Tiara. Yeah. So that apparently fueled this desperate need in Tiara to stay young, stay beautiful, stay the center of attention. She was constantly pushing boundaries, trying to stop time, made her a prime target for someone promising exactly that.
And that's where the killer, this dark prince, enters the picture.
The maid, Estella Cruz, is key here. She never actually saw the guy, but she confirmed Tiara had this new lover, called him Prince, sometimes the Dark Prince.
And Tiara started acting differently.
Radically different, sleeping really late, like till the afternoon, insisting the drapes stay closed because she only wanted the night. Estella also mentioned Tiara looked paler.
Playing right into the vampire aesthetic.
Exactly. And then there's the dog, Biddy, this little teacup bulldog.
What about the dog?
Estella noticed Biddy seemed off, wasn't walking right, looked kind of drunk.
Okay. So maybe drugged?
That's the implication. It's a small detail, but hugely significant. It shows meticulous planning. The killer thought to neutralize even a tiny yappy dog that might interrupt the ritual. This wasn't spontaneous. It was an operation.
And Tiara really bought into the whole story.
Apparently so. Her best friend, Daffodil Wheatstaffy, she confirmed it. Tiara genuinely believed this guy was a friggin' vampire, like for real, and that he was going to make her immortal.
Wow, and Daffy knew where they met.
Yep, a club called Bloodbath. Underground place, near Times Square. Cult theme, only open sunset to sunrise. Basically a perfect hunting ground for a modern-day predator playing the part.
Okay, so let's switch from the narrative she believed to the science, the CME's findings.
Right, Chief Medical Examiner Morris. He confirms death by exsanguination through those precise carotid punctures. And he echoes Dallas's observation. She lay there and let him suck her dry.
And the toxicology report explains why she lay there.
Oh, it explains everything. The residue in that wine glass revealed this incredibly potent, complex cocktail of illegal drugs. It wasn't just about knocking her out. It was designed to create this euphoric, delusional state where she'd be completely submissive.
What kind of drugs are we talking about? The names are evocative. Zeus, erotico.
They really are. You've got Zeus, likely a powerful hallucinogen. Erotica and whore, probably intense sexual enhancers. Bliss and boost for euphoria, making her feel transcendent. It's a whole pharmacy aimed at controlling her perception.
But there were others too, right? Stunner and rabbit?
Yes, and those are critical. Stunner is a known paralytic. It would ensure she couldn't move, couldn't fight back, even if some part of her wanted to. But crucially, she'd likely still be conscious or semi-conscious.
Paralyzed but aware. That's horrifying.
It is. And then you add rabbit, which is a sexual stimulant. So she's physically helpless, but potentially highly aroused, hallucinating, euphoric. Convinced this horrific act is actually this ecstatic, consensual transformation.
Turning murder into enforced rapture, chemically assisted.
Precisely. And then there's the final piece in the tox report, the most disturbing maybe.
What's that?
Human blood. Mixed into the wine cocktail she drank.
It's blood.
It had to be. This confirms the ritualistic element wasn't just for show. He integrated his own mythology into it. Having her ingest his blood, that's classic vampire lore, right? Sharing the life essence. It cements the delusion for her, makes her believe she's truly being sired, transformed.
So it wasn't just a draining of her life, but a symbolic infusion of his, or what he claimed was his.
Exactly. Deeply manipulative. Psychological warfare alongside the chemical assault.
Okay, so the victimology is clear. The method is clear. It all points towards the manager of that club, Bloodbath.
Dorian Vadim. Let's profile him. He's 38, born in Budapest. And according to Dallas's observations, he has this captivating look. Hard and sensual beauty, moves with this lithe black cat grace.
So he looks the part. The Dark Prince persona isn't much of a stretch for him visually.
Not at all. He seems tailor-made for the role Tiara was casting. But his background tells a very different story.
Not ancient vampire nobility, I'm guessing?
Hardly. His record shows a long history as a grifter. A mesmerist, a magician. Lots of charges across Europe, the U.S. Almost always involving wealthy women. Vulnerable women.
But no violence on his record.
Zero recorded violence, interestingly. But a clear pattern of exploitation. He was described as incredibly skilled at avoiding consequences. Slithered through the system like a snake, is how one source put it. Witnesses would suddenly recant, charges dropped. Very slippery.
So a sophisticated con artist.
Absolutely. And the club, Bloodbath, fits right into that pattern. This is where Roarke's financial investigation comes in.
Roarke being Dallas's husband, the billionaire tech mogul with serious resources.
Right. He digs into Vadim's finances. Vadim's listed as manager, but he owns the place through shell companies. And Roarke finds something interesting. Bloodbath is losing money. A lot of money, week after week.
Losing money. But Vadim's personal finances were okay.
Better than okay, they were increasing steadily. So the club itself wasn't the profit center. It was essentially a front.
A casing operation.
Exactly. A very elaborate, expensive stage set designed to attract a very specific type of clientele. Wealthy, maybe a bit naive, looking for thrills. People like Tiara Kent. The club filters them, vets them. It's a hunting ground for marks to exploit, bilk, maybe blackmail.
And the atmosphere of the club played into that.
Completely. 3 levels, dark, smoky,
Yeah.
a bar shaped like a pentagram, music like hurled stones. The patrons are mostly young, rich, dressed in black, maybe some fetish gear, They're serving cocktails with pig's blood.
Pig's blood. Seriously.
Yeah, delivered in syringes, for flourish. It's all theater. Vadim created this space where the wealthy could flirt with danger, with the occult, the forbidden, operating underground minimal regulations, perfect for finding and grooming victims.
So when Dallas confronts him at the club, he's basically on his home turf, in character.
Oh, completely. He's utterly arrogant, looks at Tiara's photo, dismisses her as just another patron, flatly denies any sexual relationship, claims it's bad for business for him to get involved with clients that way.
Protecting his operation.
Right. But then comes the real power play. Eve tells him they have DNA evidence from the scene. Semen, saliva, blood in the wine.
How does he react? Panic. Lawyer up.
Not Vadim. He sees it as a challenge, an opportunity to show off. He immediately, voluntarily, offers a blood sample.
Voluntarily, wow.
Yeah, and he makes a whole performance out of it. Demands a clean vial from his bartender, Elysaria, takes out a syringe, draws his own blood expertly, hands it over. It's pure theater, designed to say, I have nothing to hide, I'm untouchable.
That level of arrogance is something else.
It really is. Eve noted he wasn't just confident, he was intensely watching her, gauging her reaction, trying to dominate the interaction. Classic narcissistic psychopath move.
And this confrontation had a deeper effect on Eve, didn't it?
It did. It triggered something visceral in her. She recognized something in his eyes, that indifferent cruelty, that complete lack of basic human connection or empathy.
Like her father.
Yeah.
The man who abused her.
Exactly. She realized in that moment, the monster wasn't some mythical creature. It was this chillingly familiar human kind of emptiness. True sociopathy.
So Vadim gives his sample, walks away feeling like he's won, like he's outsmarted them.
He absolutely thinks he has. He's performed his illusion perfectly.
But the lab results come back.
And it's the twist Eve was half expecting. The DNA from the blood sample Vadim provided. It does not match the DNA found at the crime scene. The semen, the saliva, the blood Tiara ingested.
A switch. A fucking arrogant switch, as Eve put it.
Exactly. He knew he'd left DNA. The blood sharing, the sexual contact, it was integral to his ritual, his con. So instead of panicking, he came prepared with a decoy sample. He played a shell game with his own blood.
Using his magician skills against the police, incredible nerve.
Off the charts. And just as this bombshell drops, they get another warning, this one psychological.
From Dr. Mira, the profiler.
Right. Mira raises the possibility that Vadim isn't just pretending to be a vampire. He might actually believe it on some level. And if he believes it, then the ritual with Tiara was meant to be a siring.
Creating another vampire like him.
Exactly. But it failed. Tiara died instead of being reborn. Mira warns that this failure would be a major narcissistic blow to Vadim. His compulsion, his need for power and validation through this act, would likely make him need to try again, immediately.
He needs a successful siring to restore his sense of superiority.
That's the profile. And tragically, that escalation happens almost instantly. It leads directly to the second victim.
Elysaria Carter, the bartender from Bloodbath.
Yes, the one who provided Vadim's false alibi. She was clearly terrified of him, but felt guilty about lying to the police.
So she tried to come clean.
She did. She called Eve's private link number, trying to record a message. She was recanting her story, saying Tiara had been in Vadim's private office that night and that Vadim wasn't on the club floor until 2 a.m. like she'd claimed. She specifically said he wasn't seen before midnight.
But Vadim found out.
He must have overheard her or caught her somehow. The audio recording captures her sudden fear, then sounds of a struggle. The link falls. The visual catches just a blur, a gloved hand, movement, then silence.
He killed her to silence her.
Yes, but the way he killed her marks a terrifying shift. This wasn't the clean, ritualistic killing of Tiara.
How is it different?
Brutal, completely different. Her body was dumped in a nearby abandoned building. No staging, no candles. She was savagely beaten both before and after death. The cause of death was manual strangulation. Her larynx was crushed.
But she was also exsanguinated, like Tiara.
She was. Similar neck wounds, but, and this is critical, her blood wasn't taken. It was just spilled at the scene. And there were no drugs found in her system internally, suggesting the method was different.
So not a ritual, not a siring.
No. This was pure necessity and rage. He needed to silence her, yes.
Yeah.
But the extreme violence, the beating, the investigators concluded he got off on her pain, got off on the power. He made sure the body would be found quickly. It was a message to Eve, a defiant act.
It shows he's losing control, descending from calculated con man to, well, just a sadistic killer.
Absolutely. And this murder, combined with the DNA discrepancy, finally gives the police the leverage they need to crack Vadim's blood sample trick.
They run the DNA from the sample he gave them through databases.
Right. A global search against offender and donor databases.
Hmm.
And they get a hit. Gregor Pensky,
Gregor Pensky. Who was he?
a known violent felon, died about a year earlier in Bulgaria.
Okay, so Vadim somehow got Pensky's blood.
It's worse than that. They pull Pensky's autopsy report. How did he die?
Let me guess.
Bludgeoned, partially dismembered, and sanguinated, with
Yeah.
distinct puncture wounds in the carotid artery.
Oh my God, he killed Pensky the same way.
Exactly. The Bulgarian authorities had written it off as maybe a weird animal attack. Vadim killed Pensky using his signature method, kept his blood, and then used that blood, the DNA of a previous identical victim, as his clean sample to give to Eve.
That is unbelievably cold and arrogant.
It's the ultimate magician's trick, isn't it? He planned not just the murder, but the investigation itself. He had his alibi literally refrigerated, courtesy of a previous kill.
Okay, so now they have him. Pensky connects Vadim directly to the method used on Tiara, even if the DNA at her scene isn't Pensky's.
Right. It proves the MO. Eve gets a warrant, but not for murder. Initially, the PA is dragging their feet because Vadim filed some bogus paperwork claiming religious exemption from searches, citing his condition.
His vampire condition, he actually filed that.
Apparently so. So Eve gets a warrant for an illegals raid on the club drugs, likely unlicensed operations. It's the fastest way in.
And she decides to go in alone to confront Vadim.
Yes. She knows he's running on pure ego, adrenaline, maybe drugs. She figures she needs to con the con, get inside his head, break him down personally.
And this is tied into her own past, facing that fear she felt when she first met him.
Deeply. It's intensely personal for her. She recognizes the monster, and she feels compelled to face it, not just as a cop, but for herself, to prove she can.
So the final confrontation, in his apartment above the club.
Yeah, his lair. Perfectly gothic, of course. Vadim is there, fully in character. Pale, dressed in black. He's not even pretending anymore. He seems to genuinely believe his own hype. He even waves that bogus religious reasons documented Eve, claiming he can't tolerate sunlight.
He's completely lost touch with reality.
Seems like it. He's past fraud now. He's operating entirely within his delusion. And his final move is, well, it's incredible. He tries to recruit Eve.
Recruit her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He tells her she has the strength, the potential. He offers to change her, make her like him. I knew you'd be the first who'd walk as I walk, he says.
He wants to sire her now, the cop investigating him.
It confirms his motivation has totally shifted. It's not about money anymore. It's about this megalomaniacal need to create an equal, a mate, someone who understands his superiority.
How does Eve handle that? Play along.
No, she switches tactics. She drops the pretense and hits him with reality. She mentions Pensky, and then she plays the audio they cleaned up from Alisaria's final message. Just that one word, clear as day. You.
Undeniable proof linking him to the second murder.
Exactly. And hearing his own voice like that, caught on tape, it shatters his composure, his illusion.
Attacks.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Moves with that unnatural speed and strength. Eve thinks it's a combination of drugs and pure psychotic adrenaline. He literally throws her across the room.
But something saves her, right? Something unexpected.
Almost comically so. Remember, Roarke insisted she carry a silver cross, half joking, half superstitious.
Yeah.
It falls out of her pocket during the struggle. And Vadim reacts. He actually hisses, flinches back from the silver. It's probably just an ingrained reaction from his performance, or maybe the drugs made it sensitive, who knows. But it buys Eve a crucial second.
A second to do what?
To grab the other prop. Roarke and her colleague Baxter had given her as a joke earlier.
Don't tell me.
A wooden stake.
No.
Way. A simple wooden stake. Eve uses the tools of his own fantasy against him. She doesn't go for the heart, just jabs him hard in the gut. Takes him down. Neutralizes him.
So he wasn't killed, just subdued.
Right. Apprehended. And the follow-up investigation tied up the loose ends. They confirmed the drug cocktail found near Alisaria's body was likely administered through the neck wounds, post-mortem maybe, explaining the exsanguination without internal ingestion.
And the fangs.
Confirmed as filed teeth or maybe removable caps. Easy on, easy off. Part of the costume.
So in the end, he wasn't just a grifter. He really had lost it.
Completely. The consensus was he was genuinely, profoundly mentally ill. Bug shit crazy was the term used. Driven by drugs, ego, and a deep sociopathy that led him to fully inhabit his own con. He wasn't just playing a vampire, he believed he was one or something like it. He ended up in a facility for the criminally insane.
It comes back to what Roarke said, doesn't it? That Vadim's kind. They don't need fangs to drain the life out of people.
Exactly. Sucks the life out of people. just as effectively as any fictional vampire. The real horror wasn't the myth. It was the predatory human who used the myth as camouflage.
So this deep dive really shows that collision, right? Tiara's extreme wealth and vanity made her the perfect target.
The perfect vulnerability. And Vadim, the manipulator, just got so lost in his own performance, fueled by drugs and ego, that he thought violence was transcendence.
A chilling mix of insecurity, money, chemicals, and psychological breakdown. The Dark Prince wasn't immortal, just terrifyingly broken.
But if you think about Mira's profile, about Vadim truly believing he was superior, getting this rush from the killing, it poses a difficult question for us, doesn't it? His delusion wasn't created in a vacuum. It was fed by readily available, potent drugs and by a culture that's kind of obsessed with eternal use, with perfection. So how do we actually protect society from individuals whose specific pathology finds such fertile ground in, modern excess and easily accessible chemistry? What can really be done?
That is a deeply unsettling thought to leave things on, something for all of you to think about until our next deep dive.